Welcome back to a brand new episode of Buckets and Besties. My name is Katia, and I'm joined, as always, with my bestie, Megan. We're coming off a wild week for the WNBA where nobody is safe and every game has been turning into a thriller, and the drama keeps delivering.
Absolutely. We're talking massive comebacks from the Wings, the Sparks, and Tempo. Remember to like, subscribe on all our social media channels. But before we dive into the deep end, let's tip it off. Here are our highlights for the week. Let's start with you, Katia.
All right, so one of my highlights for the week, I was telling Megan about this. I have been super swamped with editing a series that I'm working on right now, and I finished and uploaded the episode 3, so I'm very excited about that. If you want to go check on my personal channel, you definitely can. Very, very happy that it's over with that episode. We have a showcase coming up next month, so I'm excited. How about you,
That's
Meg?
awesome. That's awesome. You're killing it. I'd say, not personal highlight, but I think we're seeing a lot of excitement in sports right now. So the U.S. team is 2-0 in the World Cup. So excited to see where they go tomorrow with their last game. But they're headed to the knockout stage already because they're 2-0 in the group. But yeah, I think, other than that, just working a lot and trying to balance it all. Aren't we all trying to do that?
Aren't we all? But yeah, definitely happy to been watching the World Cup games. It's been fun. Everyone's out here with all their flags, especially here in Newark because we are hosting some of the games here. So it's very exciting, and there's just so much energy with everyone in the community. I mean, every single day there's a game, and whether any team wins, lose, or draws, there's still a party every single day. So it's been fun.
Yeah, this is definitely gonna go down go down for one for the books because I think it's once in a lifetime. I don't know if we'll ever host the World Cup again, but I just love how there's a watch party every day in every bar, every city, everyone's into it. We're all talking about it. All the legends are scoring: Ronaldo, Messi, Mbappe. It's never a dull moment in the World Cup. So just enjoying it as well. So hopefully I can get down to your area and check out the watch party in the village. But I guess we'll dive into it. We'll start off this week the Bestie breakdown with the 30th anniversary Liberty versus Sparks. We're going to start with the history book, speaking of history and all the World Cup, but June 21st marked the 30th anniversary of the first ever WNBA game back in 97, and it took place between the Liberty and the Sparks, so they just played on this past Sunday. The Sparks hosted the Liberty, and the atmosphere was electric, over 18,000 fans in attendance.
Yeah, what a turnout for fans that are coming. We've already been talking about how the league is growing, and not just the fans that are turning out now, but just being there to see legends like Lisa Leslie, Delisha Milton-Jones, and Teresa Weatherspoon, Teaspoon in the building. I mean, all around, just what a monumental experience for them to be at. Sparks were also rocking those replica jersey, which is so cool. I mean, I can only imagine being Lisa Leslie and Teaspoon and just seeing a new generation of players wearing their jerseys that they wore to kick off what they're doing now. And like I said, what a throwback and full circle moment. I was 1 year old when the league launched, and to think about all the players that are spearheading the continuation of the league, of this new generation that weren't even born yet. Some of the players that we're looking at are 2000, 2001, 2, and 3 kids, and it's just amazing. It's just mind-boggling to me. And the Sparks played incredibly hard this game because, they had to do it for, the legends. Especially, I want to shout out Erica Wheeler, who helped give the Sparks their first lead of the night in the fourth and tying the game. And then we'll get into it a little bit later, but she gave the game-winning assist to Nneka Onwumike. So what a game.
Yeah, you've seen the first half that the Liberty's length definitely dominated. They have size is definitely their advantage they can use going forward, but you definitely saw it in this game. The Sparks lack that right now with Cameron Brink being out. And of course it ended in the most poetic fashion with Nneka Onwumike, the WNBPA president, wearing number 30 on the 30th anniversary, sinks the game-winning 3 to take a 98-97 lead at the buzzer. I got full on chills. I know Katia is going to talk about Ryan Ruckel's call, but his bet, I was watching it live, and when she caught the ball I will say, like, I could tell it was going in from the get. It looked good from the release, and I definitely had chills when she made it. It was unbelievable. All the legends there. She was emotional after in the post game interview, and I did love the post game interview too, because she doesn't get emotional in NECA, and her sister Cheney talked about that more the next day, that she's more like even kill, and she was emotional just seeing Lisa Leslie there, Teresa Weatherspoon, Rebecca Lobo was calling the game with Ryan Rucco. I remember back to, I'm a little older than Katia, but I was 10 at the time. I remember Teresa Weatherspoon. I remember Becky Hammond, Rebecca Lobo, like those days of basketball. And that's when I started to get more into basketball when I was in middle school. So it was awesome seeing those legends. And then they did like a reenactment of the tip off from 30 years ago. So really, really fun game, really fun atmosphere. Definitely chills at the end of that game for sure.
Yeah, like we were just mentioning, that last call from Ryan Rucco, the "you bet," Erica Wheeler said that in her post interview, Erica Wheeler was talking about how the goal wasn't to give the ball to NECA, but she said that she was the only one that was open. She passed it, and she's like, "I see she's set, and I know she's gonna make it." And boom, there it was, right as a buzzer beater. So what an incredible game! Like, both teams played super hard.
Yeah, I stayed up and I was watching it live, and yeah, Wheeler like dribbled under the basket. It almost looked like she could have taken it for the layup even, but passed it back out to NECA, who over Pauline Aster got the game-winning three. Yeah, just unbelievable. Like, it was just poetic, just full circle moment for all those players, just how far the WNBA has come and where it's going in the future and whatnot. So just great stuff right there. So we'll move on to the second story, which we'll call it the Wings flight. So they've won the last two games in dramatic fashion, over the Dream and then the other day over the Storm. I'll kick it over to you, Katia, for your thoughts on that as well.
Yeah, so we've been seeing Dallas kind of make some shifty plays in the last couple of games. They've really upped their defense a lot. I think they're on the same playing field against the Storm, against Natisha Heidemann. So Paige has been completely unstoppable with 27 full points. She even mentioned that she wasn't really like there in the beginning of the game. And she also hit her 1,000th career point, becoming the fourth fastest player in the league history to do so in 52 games. So, Paige has her on nights, she has her off nights, but I think it's mostly about like what they need for the teams that they're playing. Like, sometimes you might not necessarily need Paige to go all full-fledged and like score 30 something points in a game. Like, sometimes it's really about like having other teammates kind of jump in, passing to Enrique, passing to Just Shepard, and making those things happen. But in the Storm game, it was clearly like the Paige game. So that was great to see.
That game, again, I was watching live, stayed up a little bit too late for that, caught the end, sleep deprived this week for sure with these two late games. But when they say Paige Beckers was Paige Beckers, that was literally what happened. She took over, I think it was the last 2 minutes of the game. She had 8 points in the last like 2 minutes to like get them within reach to tie the game. Like, unconscious 1-3, I feel like she just like threw up and she made it. And then the second three was like a little bit around the screen and she shot it. Just unbelievable. I think the coach there's Jose Fernandez, like there's like a clip of him saying like show them who you are, and it was definitely PB5 being PB5 and just showing why she's the best in league. And that's like what superstars do. She kind of reminded me a little bit of Kobe. Like, it's like she had 10 points the rest of the game, I think the first quarter, Katia. So I was watching it. She was like definitely like not scoring this. I'm pretty sure it didn't score anything the second, third quarter. Last, like you said, 17 of the last 34 points. Lights out, like fadeaways on Heidelman. I think she had a fadeaway even on Flodgy Johnson. I also wanted to note that Dominique Molenga had an unreal game. That game, I think, was one of the most exciting games I've seen in a while. Like, not in a while, but that was exciting. And the announcers, they were fun. They were a lot of fun.
And I was going to say, mind you, like, Dominique just came back in the game from an injury. So putting up incredible numbers as we expected her to, but just coming off an injury and dominating like that is insane.
It was a fun game. I will say, like, even Alba Fan, I think she's 4 or 5 from 3-point lines at one point. So she kept them in it too. I kind of like feel bad a little bit for the Storm because I think their record doesn't show potentially how good they can be. They have two really good bigs, two young bigs. So they have a rookie in Albathan, and then Malanga's only 20. So we're like, she's like 15 years ahead of her to play in this league. It's unreal. I think she had 37 the other day, career high. She was lights out. It was a lot of back and forth ties. One team would take the lead, the other would come back. So I loved that game the other day. So a lot of excitement the other day. A lot of fun games to watch this past week.
Yeah, and I know you have a note here about Fudd.
Yeah, so she had, I believe, 4 steals that game. So there was a lot going on in that game. And she's just showing, I think she's showing that she potentially could be all defensive team going forward. I kind of was like, oh, is there any other rookies to do it? And I believe when I was looking the other day, it was like only 3 other players have been on the all defensive team as a rookie. I think she has the potential for that, or one of the announcers said it, and I was like, wow, they're bringing up a good point. I didn't even think about that. We think of like all WNBA team. We don't think of like all defensive. We're like, oh, Paige made the all WNBA team last year. So she had 4 steals in that game against the Storm, and then the Sky actually had 4 blocks, which I mean for a guard is ridiculous. And then just like kind of wrapping it up right now, they ended up beating the Sky the other night after coming back from 14-point deficit. They scored 36 in the fourth quarter. Again, Paige was lights out. Paige was Paige, and she had a 4-point play at one point that we'll highlight later in the top plays. And I know, Kade, do you want to talk about Lee LaRue? You love her. What did she do the other night?
I love Lee because anytime Jose puts Lee in there, I'm like, get Alana Smith out. Put Lee in the paint. Like, she can handle it. I don't know how she is in practice, but I'm like, every time Lee gets on the court, she is a force to be reckoned with, and she makes a difference every time. So against the Chicago Sky versus the Dallas game, Lee was pivotal to them winning. If it wasn't for Lee's game-winning free throws and plus Camila Cardoza fouling out, they would have not won that game. So shout out to Lee. And I know she's like my 6th woman of the week, but we'll get there. But I just want to
we'll get there.
Like, they won that game because of Lee.
Yeah, she's definitely like a fan favorite too. I saw an interview where they were asking her like, what does it feel like when the crowd erupts like for you every time you go in? And I sent it to you, but she's adorable and just says, she's like, I'm always ready to play. Even if like I don't get a lot of minutes, I want to come in and be ready to play. And you just saw that she's definitely going to be pivotal, like against teams that have that are bigger in the center position. So like Cardoza, for example, and then Malanga, she played crucial minutes in both those games, so she's able to match up better than I would say Alana Smith with that. She's like versatile too. I was like watching her move on the court the other day, and like I think maybe it was Paige or Izzy that threw the ball, but she was able to get like a nice little layup. And I was like, for like someone that's 6'7", or I think she is, like can move pretty. I know 6'7". She can move pretty easily or smooth on the court. So yeah, fun stuff from the wings. It's hard not to root for them. I
want to say, Jose, put her in more, please.
Yeah, definitely give her some minutes. So moving on to story 3, the heat check. We've been wanting to talk about this all week, the last couple weeks. It's just the Fever versus Mercury. Things got spicy. They're getting spicy in the standings and they're getting spicy in the court. The Fever versus Mercury game saw 5 technical fouls and 1 ejection from Hines Allen. Fever did go on to beat the Mercury 86-77. And Kadi, talk a little bit more about Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, what a game. I don't know what that was. I mean, we saw so many clips. Threads was going crazy. I'm like, okay, let's take a step back, people. Caitlin Clark now has 5 technical fouls, which means that she's very close to having a 1-game suspension. I think it's 6 technical fouls for a suspension, right? And I wouldn't be surprised if she did rack up another one. And for one of her fouls, she got a technical for clapping. I would say I wouldn't be surprised if it's also rescinded because Paige got a technical for clapping and they took it back. I think the difference was that the ref thought that Caitlin was clapping at the fact that Sophie and DB were going back and forth versus like just clapping at the crowd or something like that. So I don't know.
It, as of today, it wasn't rescinded, or it's not being rescinded. So
Oh,
she's
it's
at
not.
5 still. Yeah.
Okay.
Breaking
I was like,
breaking news on the Buckets and Besties
breaking
podcast.
news. Okay, I mean, I'm not surprised because she was kind of clapping
Yeah.
like in their face, like it. They called it intimidation, and just there was so much chaos in that game. Sophie Cunningham, as people are pointing out, no pun intended, pointing at DB was kind of unnecessary. And from what I know from social media, like Sophie went on her podcast talking about how when DB was with uh the Fever, she never sent them a goodbye text and just kind of left and never said anything. But I'm like, I don't know why she would mention that on her podcast. So maybe they have like a little bit of beef. Plus, they're still playing the game, so they're both competitive players. Phoenix has been having a hard time, and so is Sophie Cunningham. Like she's kind of like a spark at certain games, and other games she's not. I don't know what her average was for that game. I think she maybe shot like 3 points, if I'm not mistaken. But it's kind of just like they love getting on each other's nerves so that they can make other teammates upset. And we'll just see what the rest looks like. I hope that Phoenix can come up with a win against Indiana Fever so that they can get their get back.
No, yeah, tensions were definitely high in that game, and there's definitely a lot of tension between, or beef between Sophie and Bonner, I think. I don't know. So also, if I was Hines Allen, she ended up messing with Alyssa Thompson. I would not go near Alyssa Thompson. She's like a brick wall. Like, I would not mess with her at all. It's just like, I don't know. And there's a lot of footage, social media that, like, I don't know, Caitlin Clark gets herself into this, and then Sophie Cunningham's behind her defending her. It's a little annoying. Like, Caitlin, if you're gonna start your own stuff, like you gotta finish it, you know, type deal. So I'm kind of glad that they didn't take back the technical. I think she should have been awarded more technicals in games I've watched where she's throwing tantrums. So I think 1 game suspension is probably coming up for her. But hey, maybe it'll be a little bit of a wake-up call for her to like kind of keep her attitude in check and her anger in check. And she always uses the excuse that like she's competitive. So is everyone else.
Yeah.
There's a way like you can keep your cool after getting a foul that you don't agree with. There's plenty of times I watch games all the time where players get fouled or get called for fouls and keep their cool. So
yeah, I'm like, she's not getting like the Kennedy Carter treatment. You know, everyone like had warning signs about Kennedy Carter being like aggressive, or like AT being aggressive, and or like it's so weird. I said the same thing, and this is like just a little off, but I said the same thing about Marina Mabry. I'm like, the crash out jar kind of wasn't funny to me, because I'm like, other people, especially the black players, like they would not have that same mercy about like crashing out. They would like suspend them or kick them off the team, which is we've seen has happened. So I'm like, it's like yay for them, but like not for others. I don't know.
Yeah, they give her too much grace, too much leniency, and like you're right. I think like they're not to bring race into it, but I think at times it does play into it. Like we have to treat players fairly, or not treat the face of the league, or who you consider the face of the league better than someone else. You know, so we'll see what happens with the technicals. They unfortunately play again tonight, so we'll see what happens with that tonight. I can see maybe something else happening, so we'll have to stay tuned for that, Katia, for sure. But I did want to highlight Angel Reese in the Dream game versus the Fever. She hit her 1,000 rebound, and so she also in the same time the Dream set a franchise record for points in that game versus the Fever. So that was a game prior to the Mercury game. The Dream played the Fever twice and beat them twice. So I feel as times, like, again, Angel Reese gets overlooked by Caitlin Clark, and I wanted to highlight that she had her 1,000 rebound. No matter what way she's got it, she has 1,000, and she's the fastest player there. So I just wanted to highlight that as well.
Yeah, and she did it on Juneteenth. There's videos of her like singing like the Black National Anthem, and I'm like, she was completely locked in. She's like, we're gonna beat the Fever today. So it was such a great game, and I'm so proud of Angel Reese. She's really been showing how much of a dynamic player she is, and like we talked about previously, that she's not just a player to have in the post. Like she can move around and shoot from distance, shoot from long. So I'm excited to see what that looks like down the road.
Yeah, she's definitely been like keeping her cool. Like she's having fun out there, laughing and poking a little bit of fun at Caitlin Clark. But hey, why not? Because she's kind of acts ridiculous at points. So love seeing that on the court as well from her. Moving on to the fourth story, just a little bit about Marina Mabrey. You want to touch on that, Katia?
Yeah, I mean, Marina, we know she's an all-around dog. Marina Mabrey, she's been shooting her shots and getting to her spots. All right, right now she's at a career high of 37 points, tying the WNBA record with 9 3-pointers, and she did it against her former team, which is always what I love to see, a good comeback matchup at a 16-point deficit. And we've talked about seeing Marina score like this in Philly for Unrivaled. Like, it's like when she gets into her flow, she cannot be stopped. Like, it's just cash, shots after shots after shots. And at that point, the coaches have to call timeout so they can get her out of the flow. But she's such an amazing 3-point shooter, and people make fun of the way she shoots her threes and stuff, and that she can't dribble and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, the proof is in the pudding. Whether she can turn around, have a one side fader, whatever, the basketball is going in. She has great range, great visibility on getting into the basket. So however she makes the shot is how she makes the shot.
Yeah, you're spot on with that. I think people critique her for like not being, I guess, dynamic or explosive or creative in her playmaking, I'd say. But if she gets a little bit of space and has a chance to launch it, she launches it. So, I mean, it's on you to put your hands up, get in her face, because she's going to make it from anywhere on the court. And like you said, if she gets into a flow state, there's no stopping her. I did like that. I did come across this quote from Sandy Brondello comparing her to Diana Taurasi, which maybe is a little bit higher praise than maybe she deserves, but I think she is showing Diana Taurasi like characteristics out there, and just like you said, the dog. She's a dog. She gets out there and competes, and I'm just looking. She's in her 8th year, and do you think if she could make the All-Star team this year? I would love to see it happen.
I would hope Marina makes the All-Star team. I mean, she's been proving time and time in just the last year why she is an all-star. I mean, without her, the tempo would not be where they are alongside with Brittany Sykes, but like they would not be like showing themselves as well as they are. And I think her going to Toronto was kind of like a moment for her to be highlighted as a player, and how she is like like you said, playmaker for the team. No, I wouldn't compare her to DT, but I think she is the first Marina Mabrey, and the Mabrey of the Mabreys in terms of like playing in the league. So, yeah, I would consider her an all-star. And if she doesn't make the all-star team, I'm going to be upset.
Yeah, we'll touch on that later. I definitely have been putting votes in for her, so I hope she does make it. We're a little biased to her because she is a Jersey girl, but from Manasquan. So, but like, I love following Jersey stories and Jersey girls in the league. There's nothing better than watching someone from your state succeed. And I think she has a little bit like of an underdog story. I think she's been overlooked, honestly, over the years. She's always kind of like that second star in the team. There's always someone ahead of her now on the tempo. And I think you saw a little bit on the Sun. She's now like the first like option on the team.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Brittany Sykes is out, but like she's now the first option. So I think now she can't be overlooked. And I'll say I think her stock went up during Unrivaled for sure when we went to that Philly game. I think she's a huge fan favorite now. Yeah, Crash Out Jar, I think she's shown a little bit more maturity this year. I think having Sandy Brondello as a coach, she probably has helped with that as well. But yeah, I'm excited to see where her future is this year. I hope she really gets that all-star nod and people vote for her based off her performance and not just popularity vote. So hopefully we can get her to be an all-star. Yeah, but moving on. Yeah, I think we kind of tied that up pretty well. But we have the Commissioner Cup finals set on June 30th at the Barclays Center between the Aces and Liberty. Cody, do you think this is the finals preview we've been waiting for? This is what they usually say it is, a finals preview.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the Aces and the Liberty are championship winning teams. I mean, you know, their previous game was on fire last night. They're both highly competitive. I love seeing Asia and Brianna like match up and guard each other. They both spoke about how they have so much deep respect for one another. It's really a matter of one-upping each other in the game. I mean, they're both on the same kind of skill level. It's just maximizing the skills, because there's one day that Aces can beat Liberty and another day that Liberty could beat Aces. It's just a matter of the day and the game. So it's going to be very fun and exciting to see. And I'm looking forward to it. Now, for this game specifically, I think the Liberty will win the game. I don't know. It's like it's really up in the air. It's really up in the air. So, what do you think?
Yeah, they did play last night. Yeah, you kind of touched upon that in a little bit. And so the Liberty took the game last night. I honestly, like we talked about last week, their depth being problem. So Kenny Carter was out again. I just think they only had 3 coming off the bench, so they're playing with 8, which that makes it rough. And the big 3, I don't think the big 3 has been firing on all cylinders together. It just seems like Asia has a great game, and Jackie Young or Chelsea Gray has a great game, and Jackie Young doesn't. So last night we kind of saw a little bit of that. Chelsea Gray, I think I was looking at one point. I knew you were watching a little bit. I think she was 0 for 4, 0 for 5, with like 4 points. So there's a little bit of a struggle. I think still the Aces take a little bit slower to get into rhythm. I don't know if this is a finals preview for me. I still think we kind of called it last week. I think we might have said Lynx Liberty. So I could see that or Wings Liberty happening. So I don't quite think the Aces have it this year. I think they don't have the depth for it. They don't have the bench. And you could see the struggles they're having. They're either up or down. There's no consistency right now with them. All right, on to segment 3, 6 women of the week. So each week, Katia and I pick, not necessarily superstar, someone that had a breakout performance from the last week. So Katia, start us off with your pick for the week.
So my 6 women of the week, I have 2 of them. Ray Burrell from the LA Sparks. She's been a really good contender and highlighter for me recently. She scored 19 points both in the Liberty and the Lynx game, which we know both teams are extremely hard to beat. And she shot between 83 and 100% from the free throw. I think she's one of those underdogs that is coming to the light in this season, and she's really been helping the LA Sparks as much as she can. We know the Sparks have been having kind of a rough season, but I love watching her play. She's an awesome shooter, and while she might not get too many minutes all the time, I think sometimes she ranges between like 15 and 20 minutes, which seems well over the course of 4 quarters, but not every game. So it's great and fun seeing her play. And then, of course, like I mentioned earlier, my other 6 woman of the week is Lee Yaru from Dallas Slings. Another person who doesn't often get many minutes, but when she's on the court, her impact is felt, and it's seen. She helped Dallas win the last game against Chicago Sky with her game-winning free throws. So wherever we can see an underdog shine, it's always exciting.
And my pick for this week is Isaiah James from the Wings and Pauline Astier from the Liberty. So James the other day was very influential in that game. She played only 24 minutes, but she had 18 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, and 2 steals in the Wings win over the Storm. So you saw Enrique had some struggles the other night. So then as James came in off the bench a little bit earlier, and then she was on fire. So you can see how crucial she is to that team as well. Not only with the steals, but also 6 rebounds and 6 assists is impressive in just 24 minutes. And then what I'm loving on the Liberty is also Pauline Astier, so another French connection Johannes. She had 17 points unfortunately in the loss of the Sparks, but I think she continually shines. She's great. She's been a great addition to the Liberty this year when Sabrina's been out. She's come in and really played some big minutes. Now that Sabrina's back, she'll probably get a little bit more limited minutes, but when she was out, she had some big games. She's really aggressive. I see her drive to the hoop a lot, just take people on. I'm really excited to see what comes from her in the future.
And those are our 6 women of the week.
All right, on to our next segment, Jump Ball. So this is where each week Katia and I debate a topic. This week is going to be 2 topics I went with this week, but first one is going to be about the All-Star game and just voting. So the WNBA All-Star game is a popularity contest, yes or no? Katia, start us off.
I absolutely think it's a popularity contest because a lot of the people that are voting are just trolls on social media, and they're voting for their favorite player. So what I've seen is a lot of people are voting for Nafisa Collier, Rakia Jackson, Dejanay Carrington, and no shade, but they're not even playing. They're all out with injury or recovering or something. So what is the point of why is that even a thing that you can put their name in a ballot? So I'm they need to do something about that or take them off, unless they're just there to be support. But I want to give some other spots to some people that we've seen have stepped up a lot in the games and not just focus on who's the most popular. But what do you think?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with no, but I'm only going with no because I have to say no. But I do think America gets it right sometimes, but they got it right with our first American Idol and Kelly Clarkson. So I'm hopeful for the WNBA fan base to get it right. And I will say, I think like the leading vote getters right now are Paige and Asia, which makes sense either way. I mean, they're popular, but they're also having a good season. I don't necessarily think there's other ones on there that deserve, like, I like AZ. Obviously, she's one of our faves, but I don't think she's having an all-star year.
No.
Marina is having an all-star year, so people get out there and vote. That's the only thing I want them to correct, maybe, is like having spots left open for people that like maybe didn't get the popular vote, but like deserve it. So like have like, I don't know, the top 15, and then I don't know how many they have on each start. Like say they have 10 spots on each side, like leaving open 5 spots for like people that deserve it that didn't get the popularity vote, if that makes sense. So that's what I think like maybe needs to change. I feel like they do that in another league, but yeah, I think, yeah, Rakia, no, like get her out there, get Nafisa off the ballot, let people on there that deserve to win. People will vote for Marina, vote for Marina.
Marina, let's go. Jersey girls take over.
All right, second topic, and I'm not sure which side you want to take on this, but the Chicago Sky and the Seattle Storm are better than their record reflects.
I could take either one. Which one do you want to take?
Yeah, go for it. Surprise me.
Okay, I think I changed my mind. As a team, no, they are not that good. So I'm thinking, like, Chicago as an organization has been having a ton of issues, and the Seattle Storm, I think as an org, that their issue is deeper than their players, because they do have a really good roster, you know. They do have young players, people that have like not, I guess, played together before, so maybe that's where they're trying to find synergy. In the Storm, I should say, I felt like a lot of the games have fallen on Natisha Heidemann, and we thought like Flage was gonna come in and like kind of try to dominate. Sometimes she does, sometimes she doesn't, and that's kind of what we saw in LSU too. But again, she's new, so I'm not surprised at that. But Chicago is a completely different story. Like, they went through a lot of changes. We had lots of injuries, like we just talked about. Dejanay Carrington, Skylar Dickinson's on the team, and she came in a little bit later during the season. There's Camila Cardozo. So I don't know what is going on in Chicago, but they had, I think, 10 straight no, I'm lying. Let me backtrack. It was the Storm that had 10 straight losses. But Chicago is also like a losing team right now. So I have no idea what's going on, and I don't think it's about the players individually, but I think it's about whatever the system is that's working around them. So maybe some people that got waived and left kind of dodged the bullet being a part of these teams, but I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna go yes, that the Storm are better than their record. No, the Sky isn't, just because of injuries and all that. They're not playing up to their potential. Carrington's still out, Vandersloot's out, Rakia's out. I think their record reflects where they truly are. The Storm, I'm gonna say they are better than their record reflects. Just based on the game the other night, I saw like Malanka was like ridiculous, like 37 points, like I said. Alva Fan had 19. Heidelman had 19, maybe Alvan had 18, Heidelman had 19. So like those 3 right there, and then Flage. I think Flage, like you're right on that. You brought up a good point. I think Flage has to be more consistent, like contributing points and whatnot. I think they were saying like she's more known for her defense, but I think in college she was more dynamic, more dynamic scorer. Mm-hmm. And I think she needs to add that 4th piece for the Storm to like really take off. I wouldn't be surprised if they do a little bit better this like second half of the season, because like just watching them against the Waves the other night, they're competitive. It's just unfortunate that they couldn't seal the deal the other night. They were up by like 8, I want to say, and then Paige was Paige, but I want to say they just fell apart the other night. And you're right, that could be coaching too. So I'm gonna say yes, the Storm are better. No, the Sky, good luck, and hopefully you'll get some players back. But yeah, I'm with you on the kind of leaning towards more that the records reflect who they are and stuff. So yeah.
Good luck to the Sky. Good luck to the Storm. I would either say the same thing to Connecticut Sun, but I think they gave up at this point.
Yeah, definitely. So that was the jump ball. Hope you guys enjoyed it. But yeah, don't let the WNBA All-Star Game be a popular vote for Marina. I'm gonna keep saying it. All right, moving on. Let's go to the starting five. This is the plays of the week. This is where we count down the top 5 plays of the week. So this week we'll go a little bit back and forth, Katia, with just reading them off. But the 5th play I'm gonna start with is Caitlin Chen crossing over Jewel Lloyd out of her shoe. So this was funny to see in the replay a couple times. I didn't quite see it live, but Jewel Lloyd came out of her shoe, and then Caitlin Chen was able to drive to the basket for the layup. I think that was pretty funny to see her completely come out of her shoe. But on to play number 4, Katia. You saw this happen.
So number 4 on one of our plays of the week is Olivia Miles having the game-sealing block in the Valkyries game. She dropped 31 points with KD watching. So it's always fun and just phenomenal to watch NBA players come watch the WNBA and show support. But we know we can't expect anything less from Olivia Miles. So what a game.
Yeah, definitely. She's always stepping up in the clutch. Number 3 for me, Paige Beckers. I mean, there's 2 parts of this. I'm going to pick her 4-point play when she got fouled on that one, and then her circus shot falling down against Jaquez in the Chicago Sky game. She kind of body to body with Jaquez, falls down, and still ends up making the shot. So she's just like Paige Beckers playing lights out. So she's 2 plays for me in the top 5 for her, and obviously like killed it against the Storm the other day.
Yeah, she fell and stared her down. I was like, that's PB5 right there. Like, that's PB5. Mm-hmm. So what a play. All right, and then second on the list we have Kelsey Mitchell. Kelsey Mitchell's ankle breaker on Tahina Pau behind the back into a splash 3. I love both Kelsey Mitchell and Tahina Pau. I loved Pau when she was playing in South Carolina. So to see some of my favorite players go up against each other, I'm like heartbroken. But, Kelsey Mitchell had it in her bag. All around, it just shows like it was kind of like a not a welcome to the league moment, because Pau's been in there for a year, but like a rookie, a newer player versus like an OG player kind of vibe. So it's fun to see.
And play number 1, you bet, is Nneka Ogwumike the game-winning 3 over the Liberty in the 30th anniversary game on Sunday. So we can't not mention her again. That is definitely the play of the week, maybe the play of the year. Just chills all around, like I said in the beginning of the episode. So yeah, shout out to Nneka. Awesome job and great job negotiating that CBA this year so we can make big things happen in the future for the league.
Woo.
All right, last but not least, or second to last, is our scouting report games to watch. On Tuesday, like we mentioned, so we're filming this on Wednesday. So we saw the Liberty versus Aces, and the Liberty took that game. But we'll highlight some of the games tonight are the Mercury versus Fever, Lynx versus Mystics, Fire versus Sky, Dream versus Valkyries. And then Thursday night, we have the Sparks versus Tempo, Wings versus the Aces. Again, another matchup. We'll see if the Aces can actually win. Liberty versus Storm. So out of that lineup, Katia, anything that interests you right off the bat?
Let's see. I'm, of course, interested watching the Wings versus the Aces game again, like you just said. Hopefully the Aces can pull through, but I feel like the Wings have learned how to play with the Aces. I really want to see the Dream versus the Valkyries. The Valkyries have been such a tough competitor this season. The Lynx versus the Mystics. My money is on the Lynx. And I want to see that Mercury and Fever matchup again. Let's just go for the hell of it. Let's just bring more of the drama. Let's bring fire energy, and let's see if the Phoenix can, dominate them this time around.
Yeah, I'm definitely intrigued by Mercury versus Fever again, because there'll be tempers flaring again, I'm sure. But also, yeah, the Valkyries, I think, have gotten a couple tough breaks recently. I think their record doesn't truly reflect how good they are as well. Right before we came on this podcast, I saw that Kelsey Plum's going to be out for 4 weeks. So the Sparks are going to be, I think, hurting without her, and Cameron Ring's out as well. So I will say, the other night, she looked like she wasn't ready to be back in that game. She had like a wrap on her leg. So hopefully there's nothing too serious. It said 4 weeks she'll be out. So hopefully she comes back fully 100%. And then obviously we'll tune in for the Wings versus Aces. and we'll see if the Aces can get their first win against them this season and including preseason. So they're 0-3 versus the Wings right now. So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, that wraps up the scouting report. A lot of good matchups coming up. So our last segment now is Outside the Paint, where we highlight something that happens outside the WNBA. Majority of the time, it's women's sports related, so we can tie it in back to the WNBA. We are pro women's sports in this podcast. So, Connie, what's your Outside the Paint moment that you want to highlight this week?
So Outside the Paint, right now it's National Women's Sports Week, so highlighting all women and girls in sports. We know we encourage them to achieve their goals and their dreams and go out there and just do the best that they can. We have incredible athletes, not just here in the USA, but all around the world. They're building roadmaps for women in soccer, softball, you name it, any sport, tennis, gymnastics, all that stuff. Like, we're strong, resilient, and go women. And I know we wanted to highlight a little bit of the Women's World Cup in 2027 that's coming up. It's on the way. It might be a little early, but there's some games that have been happening in a kind of preseason feel right now. Brazil won against the USA 2-1. But, we're still go USA. The last game was, I think, June 6th. So they're playing some games right now. And I know everyone's watching the Men's World Cup, which is great. And I love seeing everyone rep all their countries and stuff. But definitely stay tuned for any updates on the Women's World Cup League.
Yeah, not as far away as you think. So we're exactly 1 year as of yesterday from the Brazil World Cup, Women's World Cup next year. Tying into that, Trinity Rodman grabbed the game ball at the US versus Australia World Cup match in the men's game the other day. So she came out with the game ball there. And then she also headed over to the first pitch at the Mariners game. So I love how she's the face of the women's national team right now. I'm a huge Trinity Rodman fan. She's an unbelievable athlete. So glad she's getting highlighted right now and getting her time to shine. Also, we didn't mention last week, or I did, that the GOAT was going to be back in doubles, but the GOAT of tennis, I should say, she has a good shot of all of tennis, actually, versus like Federer and Nadal and Djokovic. But the women's GOAT specifically is going to be back in singles too at Wimbledon. So I'm excited to watch her play. I believe she is 42 or 43 years old. So what do they say? Age is just a number. So wow. I'm just curious to watch her play. So that is going to be an exciting time coming up. And I think that's within the next couple weeks. US Open is the end of August and September. So Wimbledon is coming up for sure. So a lot of excitement in women's sports right now. All right. So that wraps us up for this episode. And as always, like, subscribe, comment on all our social media channels. And we'll catch you next time. Stay besties.
All right. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Catch you next time, besties.